Jewell, of course, we can't start this interview and not talk about the passing of Jewell. And
Right.
actually, the last interview that I did with Jewell, you and her, y'all did it together. But out of curiosity, when did you find out Jewell was sick? Because I found out in
Right.
October, but you knew before that, right?
Well, to keep it real, Art Jewel really didn't tell people how sick she was. That was the thing. Jewel just didn't want people to know that she was really sick. And what happened was Jewel had first had a hip replacement on one of her hips. And then like a few years later, it kind of was rubbing on the other bone. So she had to get another hip replacement. So it with the second hip replacement, she ended up getting a blood clog in her lung. And so, as she had the blood clog in her lung, they started giving her blood thinners, and she was taking medication for that. And then, as it started getting worse, she ended up needing oxygen. So she was doing the oxygen thing, and it was like she was dealing with like a small levels amount of oxygen, that she would need maybe to go to sleep with, or after doing so much, after like maybe 8, 9 hours or so, she would need it after a while, would just need to power up, like type of thing that we would call it. So when she came out here in California in 19, she had a very small little oxygen thing that she needed, like I said, every now and then. She didn't, she was able to travel with it and everything, but it wasn't that bad. So, it was like the doctors was giving her medicine, they wasn't saying it was bad, but when you just looked at Jewel, you didn't get a sick person at all. So, when she did the interview with you and told you, the interview that you posted and she told you about when she was sick was basically when her son and Brandy found out. You know what I'm saying? Was that interview. If you remember, they started crying because they didn't even know that it had gotten that bad. So Jewel really wasn't telling people that she was that sick like that. You know what I'm saying? And when you seen Jewel and you saw her in her, you knew because you were behind the scene, that she had to take her oxygen break and different things of that nature. But people just seeing it, they wouldn't have never known, because Jewel was just so strong with dealing with her situation that she was going through. But, like I said, when went to Boise to do the interview with her, that's when I realized how sick Jewel had gotten. You know what I mean? That's when it really hit home for me that my friend is really sick. From talking to her on the phone and her sending me pictures and stuff. And she'll be like, oh, I went to the doctor and this, that, this, that. I didn't realize that Jewel had gotten that sick until I went there and did the interview with her to see, with you. And then another thing a lot of people didn't understand, then Jewel could barely even have a conversation in that interview with us because remember she kept needing her oxygen. And
Right.
a lot of people, the commenters was saying she's coughing and it wasn't that, it's just Jewel couldn't breathe long without being on her oxygen. A lot of people felt like I was taking over the interview. It wasn't that Jewel couldn't talk as much as you would feel that Jewel could talk because she couldn't do that long without the oxygen. But one thing that Jewel could do is Jewel could sing. I don't care how much she needed the oxygen, what was going on. God never took away that beautiful voice from Jewel. And that's why doing that interview, she could just blurt out and could barely breathe or have a conversation, but she could blurt out and hit those notes. So it's like she had that all the way till the end. And, Art, I thank you for just having us there. You know what I'm saying? Because had we not did your interview, I wouldn't even got to see my friend in that condition, and I really would have been super fucked up feeling about what happened to her, not knowing that she had been suffering. And much as we love somebody, you don't want to see your family member or somebody you love go through that type of thing and the suffering, the oxygen. She had tanks and tanks and having to be on oxygen 24/7, the machine, and her son, 17 years old, helping her carry this. And what a lot of people are saying, Dre, Snoop, these people, could have helped her and all this. It wasn't as if Jewell had put herself out there as if I'm sick and I'm dying and I need this money and I need this and I need that. So, Jewell really didn't put herself out there as being sick. So, a lot of people didn't know Jewell was that sick, like Dre, Snoop, and Suge, and Daz, and a lot of people didn't know the detrimental, ness of Jewell being that sick. They didn't really know. I didn't even know. Her kids didn't know. Family didn't even know. So it wasn't as if she had this big campaign for this millions of dollars to get her surgery or her this and that done. You know what I mean? Jewell just didn't put herself out there as being sick. Even when you and I did the interview and I had my phone, the first thing Jewell did was snatch her oxygen. Like, oh, you recording? Snatched her oxygen. She did not want anybody to see that. You know what I mean? So that was it, but I just didn't have no idea that even then with seeing her, I knew that she was tired of the situation. And I know that, having close people to me that has passed on along the way, when you get tired, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you're tired of going through everything that you're going through and the medication and the different things that she was going through, more than anything, she didn't want to leave her boys, That was the big thing, is leaving her boys. But to me, I still feel like Jewell still didn't get her just due far as being a female artist over there on death row and, as good a singer Jewell was, she didn't get her out there thing that she should have got. But when you look at death row as a record label and think of everybody that's R&B. None of them really dropped anything from really Lashelle, Jewell, Danny Boy, Poor Broken Lonely. It was, they had tons of R&B groups and different singers there. Death Row really was and is a hip hop label. It wasn't an R&B label. You know what I'm saying? So the R&B and Nate Dogg. The R&B singers and the people that was doing R&B music were more supporters to the hip hop artists. They sung the hooks. They did this. Yeah, they got on soundtracks, but not too many of them have their own projects that was out there. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people say, okay, well, Jewell this and Jewell that. Okay, every singer has their way. When Whitney Houston was 18 years old, she met Clyde Davis. She didn't meet Suge Knight. So take away Jewell meeting Clyde Davis versus doing something with Suge Knight and the hip hop labels that she worked with and getting with somebody that actually knows how to structure and what to do with an R&B artist. You know what I'm saying? That's the route that Whitney was able to go. You know what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, and then along the way, Jewell didn't understand she didn't really get the thing of this new thing with the internet type thing. It was like pulling teeth to get Jewell to mess with the internet. I kept telling her, like, Jewell, it's not like back in the days. You don't need the Dre's. You don't need the Snoops. You can get on this platform here and sing you can go viral by singing a Nita Baker song, singing a Patti LaBelle song, just doing a cover on YouTube. And, you can build your channel up and this, that. I tried to tell her, like, Jewell, they do this thing on TikTok called the challenges. do the Jewell challenge, where you can see who can sing and hit the oh, yeah. I can't do it, but But anyway, to do the challenge, she didn't get a lot of that, So I was trying to break her into that, And her son, which is 17 years old, he kind of like put up her Instagram and got her involved. And then her coming out to you put a face to the voice, so a lot of people that didn't know Jewell really got to see Jewell and get to know Jewell, because Jewell was the bomb, you know what I mean? Jewell was fun. Jewell didn't take no shit. The people talking about, I noticed on some of the comments, some people was like, oh, she'll beat your ass like Jewell. No, Jewell will beat your ass way more than me. I'm just a person that I express myself the way I do, and I'm with the hands and all that shit, but I'm not finna be fighting. I'm the last one finna fight. I don't fight. I don't do none of that stupid shit. I don't set up niggas. I don't do none of that. I just talk shit. I'm a comedian. This is who I am. This is how I express myself. So that's how Jewell expressed herself. So to me, that's what made us the dynamic duo. When you seen one, you seen the other. You know what I mean? That's what made us who we were.
Just take me through the day when you found out that Jewell, passed away.
Wow. For one, when I left Boise, and we got down to, well, I got down to LAX, I just broke down. I mean, I just literally had a breakdown, as if I was told that day that Jewell had passed. Because to see her in that condition and everything that she was going through, I kind of felt that I knew I wasn't gonna see. I don't. It was almost so surreal. I can't even say the feeling that I felt at the time, because it was just like, when you love people, you can be so selfish sometimes. You want them to be there because you love them and you love their existence of them being there for you. But then there's that part that that you have to separate, that this is not fair to them, the things that they're going through and the way life has them right now. So you have to separate that, and that's what kind of happened. I had to separate wanting my friend and just realizing that this may be, coming towards the end. So, when I realized that, I kind of, it was one of those things where, I talked to her, and I didn't never want Jewell to feel I was feeling some type of way, about, like I was sad. Even there, when I was there and I was in a hotel room, I cried and, hid that from her, because I didn't want her to see me break down, because I knew it would break her down. So, talk to her, pretty much like how we do. She texts me, okay, it was Easter time, happy Easter. She went to Brandy's house and enjoyed Brandy and her family, and they cooked her all the meals and stuff she wanted, and she was there with them, her and her son Jawan, and, just doing the Jewell thing. And she went to the hospital that night. Well, no, not that night. I want to say she went Monday or Tuesday. and she had been in there. And Brandy said that they had left her like maybe 10, 11 o'clock. And they got a call that morning that said that she had passed. And Brandy said that the nurse said that she went in her sleep, her heart gave out and she just, went in her sleep. What a way to go. I want to go in my sleep too, if I could pick, So Brandy called me and it was like about 6 in the morning. As soon as I picked up the phone, I just said, no, Brandy. I didn't even let her get it out before I was like, no, Brandy. And my cousin was in the background because anybody that knows me, if you talk to me, I'm going to talk to you on the speakers. So if you talk shit about somebody, you go get your ass busted messing with me, So I had it on speakers. So my cousin just instantly started crying also. And Brandy just wanted to get to Jewell's son because he was at school. And she didn't want anybody to post it on social media without him knowing first, So she was there to, ran and got him, told him what happened, He was upset, but he's a big boy. He went through it with his mom. He's seen her through those hospital visits, those oxygen tanks, he was there through that, so he knew his mother was in a better place also. So I text Snoop. I did text Snoop. I text Snoop, and he texts me back an angel and some praying eyes, a sad emoji. Then I called Daz. I hit him. Called Daz. Daz called me back with Corrupt on the phone. And then we let Rage in, and all four of us talked on the phone, and we just, just cried and, talked about times with her, and, Corrupt really, he didn't realize how sick she was, which nobody really did. Rage knew she was sick because her and Rage was kind of like going through this thing because they were feeling like their situations that's going on with them physically were kind of like the same thing. So they was trying to put together, like, did it happen at an old apartment they used to stay in that had asbestos, or, different things to the matter of that, her and Rage would talk about. So pretty much after that, then Daz posted, and, her son had posted, her older son, Jewell, had posted, and it was just a wow. I mean, like a wow fire just went crazy, And for me, to see how many people really loved my friend, I can't explain the way it made me feel, So many people really had love for her. Kids were hitting from out the country and different places saying, how they grew up to her music. And some people was like, I didn't know her until I seen her on Art's page. And, she was real. She was this. And, and a guy hit me on yesterday, and he had tattooed her face on his arm. It was different people saying, I'm gonna get her tattooed for her birthday, and it was just, the love was just overwhelming, and that kind of gave me a better sense of, just to know that people really cared about her too, and you have people that think negative and gonna say what they gonna say and to them, but I the love was overwhelming. It conquered everything, so that kind of like set the tone of the feel. And then, Jewell, Jewell had her own thing of what, she would say, I want to be cremated and just throw my ashes over Hollywood Boulevard, since I didn't get my star while I was living, She told many of us this, that was her thing, so her mom ended up giving her a service, which was in Dallas, and it was kind of, something very sudden for us, coming from LA, and the airline tickets done went up, so, and it was a lot of us, me and the girls, we all wanted to go there. And I wanted us all there to represent for Jewell. So, a couple of friends and people came together and chipped in and got us a van and got us an Airbnb out there. And we made it to the service to see her, And it was beautiful, That ride was hell, driving from LA to Texas, trading off all females, different personalities, but all we kept saying is this is for Jewell, playing her music and, you know, just feeling her, it was about her, and her service was beautiful. Her boys were, they looked amazing. They handled it very well. And her mom, Jewell's her mom's twin. Oh my God, she's so her mom. And, her mother gave her the church homegoing and the way Jewell, like she said, we knew Jewell, she knew Jewell. You know what I mean? Everybody know, if you're back, Jewell. Now, Jewell changed her name to Jewell because, only obvious, the singer Jewell came out, and she was like, okay, well, I'm going to put another L, and I'm going to be Jewell instead of Jewel. So that's where the other L came from for people that know her as Jewel and now see her as Jewell. So the funeral was so beautiful. It was casket, beautiful white, big pictures of her, nice photos there. And when I say that, I had no idea that they was gonna have an open casket. And or when I say, and I'm not just saying this because she's my friend, and I have been to a lot of funerals in my life. Jewell was the most beautiful dead person I have ever seen in my life. She was gorgeous. Her face, she had her smile. You could see her dimples. Her makeup was flawless. She still had her eyelashes from the interview that we did with you. They were, not a bend in them. They were perfect. Her eyebrows, as the kids say, was on fleek. Her wig was, just the curls on her shoulders. Her dress, she just looked like a sleeping beauty. Just like a sleeping beauty. And she had her microphone in her hand. Oh my God, just when I seen her and just seen her, one of the girls that was with us was like, oh my God, I know I got to step up my game. How Jewell gonna look better than me dead? Talking about leave it to Jewell to show out and look better than me dead. And she looked better than a lot of living people dead. She was beautiful. I mean, just flawless, just everything about her. They had a man come down the aisle, and it's this gospel song, and it says, "I shall wear a crown." And there was somebody in the choir singing it, and it was like a dude coming down the aisle. I don't know if you're familiar with church, or people that's familiar with church. And he had the crown, and he was doing like the usher walk, and he hit the corner, and he turned with his shoulders, and he had the crown, and he just walked up to the thing, and the guy was just singing, "I should wear a crown" in the background, and just laid the crown on Jewell's head. Man, it was beautiful. Oh Lord, when I say it was beautiful, I mean her mother and the family, they did that. I would take that drive again, even though I hated it for Jewell. I would do that again for her. So they put her to rest well, and me, all I ask is that people that have music on her that's gonna release it, make sure that her kids get the money, make sure that they get the money, and let's do some kind of foundation. I mean, let's do a studio, the Jewell Academy Art Studio, to teach kids to work programs and machines. Let's do something, because Jewell, what she loved was the music. That's really what Jewell was about. She was about music. Everything else was just the trappings and the trimmings that come with life. She was really about the music. Yes, okay, the stuff that people want to know about, the bullshit that doesn't have anything to do with music, who she had sex with and who this and who that, and all that shit is irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? The thing of it is, she loved music. The music loved her. So I just feel like the powers that be, whoever has the music, let's release the music. I just seen Reggie on his podcast talking about a song me and Jewell did, which we called ourselves the 68 Girls. And we were doing back then, right now, what the City Girls is doing right now, from everything. The track, Meech worked on it, DJ Quick worked on it, and then Dr. Dre did the last mixing on it. Me and Jewell filmed the video on it. We had the girls with the plexiglass dancing, and the little G-strings, and this, and, it wasn't twerking then, but, it was booty shaking or rump shaking or whatever you called it back in the 90s. And like Reggie said, whoever has the video and put it out will probably go viral dropping that video. But Suge never did put it out. That's a whole nother story. But, just whoever puts out the music or has any of her stuff and you're planning on, make sure you look out for her kids. That's the main thing. That's all we can do now is live through her music. I'm going to keep bumping her, and I'm going to keep putting her out there. So, people that love her, I hope they do the same, I thank you for taking the opportunity to put her on your platform. Her sons told me to thank you for the things that you did for their mother, to acknowledge her and get people to see her and, get a face with the voice. We thank you for that. So, good shit, Art.